podcast made by basketball fans for basketball fans. From the hottest takes, news, analysis, and passion for the sport that we all love, this is the Fast Break Pod with Finn James and Will Tremaine. Welcome into the Fast Break Podcast, the podcast made by basketball fans
for basketball fans.
Finn James,
Will Tremaine,
back with another episode. We've reached double figures on the episodes. We're at episode 10, Will.
Our first monumental moment.
This is the first milestone of many.
First milestone.
Hopefully many.
Episode 10.
Hopefully many. 10 weeks have gone so damn fast, and we're at episode 10. World News, Will, where are we at?
As we do. Quite a lot of, so much sport going on at the moment.
So much.
Honestly, spent my whole weekend just in front of a TV screen watching sports.
Agreed.
Pretty much.
I did as well.
First of all, we got some cricket news, Finn. I'll let you go into depth on that.
Oh my! I won't go too in depth because this could be a whole nother story for all cricket fans. But the Black Caps have done something they've never done before. They got the second win in Pune against India in the Test series they're playing at. So they take a 2-0 lead in the series and win the series for the first ever time in India. Mitchell Santner built him a statue, took 13 wickets in the Test. India put out a pitch that was spin-friendly, and they were thinking that there would be a home advantage. Backfired completely, and a pretty convincing win for the Black Caps over India, which is huge and has never been done before. They could be winning Team of the Year at the Halberg Awards this year.
How
just
good
quietly.
is that?
So
go the Black Caps.
Go the Black Caps.
Also, All Blacks, they're back. I know we covered them during the Rugby Championship. Now we're on to the Northern Tour. Started off with Japan. It was a bit of an iffy game. Finn and I were actually watching it up at our mates. 64-19 win, but that does not really tell the whole side of the story. We were down 12-0 to start the game.
Yeah.
Let 2 tries in from Japan, so lots of mistakes here and there. Damien McKenzie was a little bit underwhelming in my opinion, but some standout players. Ruben Love got 2 on debut.
He did.
Great outing all in all for the All Blacks.
Cam Roigard looked fucking good. Yeah. Cam Roigard looks so good.
He's looking like the second best player in the world, in my opinion.
That's a crazy take, but I love it.
DuPont, that guy, he's crazy, and he will hopefully be starting over TJ Perenara.
I think so. I think Cam Roigard's definitely that player now. And some other news: Auckland FC get their second win of their inaugural season, a 96th minute winner at home against Sydney FC, who are quite a good team from my knowledge in the A-League. So that was great to see as well. Shout out Auckland.
They're sort of getting me invested in football in a way, Finn.
I know.
You know, like having a team so close by. I haven't been to a game yet, but we're hopefully planning on maybe going to the derby.
I think the derby is definitely where we'll go.
That would be a very entertaining game.
So that was
a great
awesome.
start to the season.
And I think the Phoenix have a game tonight, I think against the Perth Glory. That should be a win for them. Perth have looked horrible all year so far. They let 6 goals in against MacArthur in their first outing. But shout out Auckland FC, 2 from 2 in their very first season. Fans are going crazy.
Wellington are doing well as well.
Wellington
1-1 start.
I think they
One
drew
win,
their
one
first
draw.
game. They have another game as well. And it was funny, before the game started, as the kickoff happened, a plane flew across the stadium with saying, "New Zealand is yellow. See you guys next week." So
oh my gosh,
the derby and the rivalry is already there. People are loving it. It's great for New Zealand football. In terms of some other news, Silver Ferns, our netball team, retained. Well, not retained. They won the third game in the 4-match series against the Australian Diamonds in the Constellation Cup. Very convincing 3 wins they've got. So that's the first time they've retained the cup since 2021. So shout out the Silver Ferns, looking like they're in great form. Grayson Wiki, of course, just absolutely dominating right now.
New Zealand's just on top in everything at the moment.
We're winning a lot.
We're doing really well.
Winning
in every
a lot.
Sport, so.
A UFC card yesterday as well, Will.
Yes, Ilya Taporia versus Max Holloway. Made sure we got up early to watch the main card opener.
Even I did. Sort of.
Anyway, Robert Whittaker, the co-main event versus Hamzat Shemaev.
Oh.
Very excited for this one. I was hoping our guy Rob Whittaker, fellow Oceanian, would get it done, but unfortunately, Hamzat just went out there and did what he does best. Took him down, absolute domination. I did not see this coming. He got the rear naked choke slipped in, but it wasn't actually under the chin. It was just over the chin, and he just must have so much strength that I think he broke Robert Whittaker's jaw and popped his teeth out of place. It was really bad. Robert Whittaker obviously tapped straight away. So Hamzat looking like he's going to get the title shot next against Dricus du Plessis, hopefully in Sydney maybe. And then the main event, Ilya Taporia, Max Holloway for the featherweight championship. Again, I thought Max Holloway was going to win this, so I was 0 for 2 on the main card.
Happens.
Two last fights. But Ilya Taporia, Max Holloway was winning the fight. He was up 2-0. He was looking good, but you can just see Ilya Taporia is just spending the whole fight hunting for that KO shot. And it came in the third round. Massive overhand first person to ever knock out Holloway, dropped him.
Crazy.
And he retains his featherweight championship. So great showing from Topuria. And Volk's next, hopefully in Sydney. Make sure you turn around and fight on the Sydney card, Topuria, or else I'll be coming for you.
That's all the world news. Of course, how we like to start the show, but of course, we'll go into the NBL Round 6 review, not including the Breakers, which we'll get into just after. A pretty exciting round with some good games. First game of the round, other than the Breakers Southeast Melbourne game, was Illawarra versus Melbourne. A bit of a chippy one here. 87-92 win for Melbourne United. Chris Golding with 25 points. There was a bit of a controversial little call at the end of the game where he did a bit of a flop. Nobody touched on the call foul. Justin Tatum was not happy. Kiwi Flynn Cameron with 18 points and Jack White for Melbourne as well, 12 points and 19 rebounds.
Crazy. And that's a big win for Melbourne. Illawarra have looked like the best team in the NBL so far to start this season.
I think they're 1-2 now, Illawarra and Melbourne.
Oh,
so
it's good.
There you go. And moving on to the next game, this is my game of the round, other than the Breakers game last night. Adelaide 36ers and Cairns Taipans went overtime. 99-93 win for Adelaide. Montrezl Harrell, my guy, of course, 36 points and 16 boards. 3 of 3 on the 3-point line as well. Who would have thought that would have happened? And your boy Kendrick Davis, well, how did he go?
Yeah, 29 points and 8 dimes for Kendrick. He's obviously finding Montrez a lot. That two-man duo right there, they're looking unstoppable when they really figure it out. And who knows, both of them could be in MVP discussions, to be perfectly honest.
Potentially.
They're having phenomenal seasons. And Adelaide is looking like a threat.
Dark horse.
I am very high on Adelaide now. I think they're going to be possibly a top 2 team.
They still lose games they should win, but that is Cairns aren't very good. They had a really crap game down the end of the round as well, but I mean, a crazy showing from Montrez and Kendrick Davis. Rob Edwards of the Cairns Taipans, 27 points of his own. Pretty poor efficiency from Rob, as per usual, as we always say, but crazy win for Adelaide. Perth and Sydney, how did this one go for you?
This one, another close one. Perth managed to come away without Bryce Cotton with the win, 87-84. Did not see that one coming. Sydney have kind of been struggling. We'll obviously get to their game with the Breakers later on, but I didn't see this coming from Sydney. They're on a bit of a cold streak at the moment, losing to Perth without Bryce Cotton. Keanu Pinder stepped up. He'd been quite quiet for the first. He played well in the first game, but then he'd struggled a bit for Perth. But this game, he's back. He picked up the load for Bryce. He had 34 points.
Crazy.
So obviously they needed someone to step up. Keanu answered the call, and then came away with the win over Sydney. Big upset.
Yeah, still no Dylan Windler showings, really. I think he only had 9 points in the night, so Dylan Windler's still probably trying to figure it out. The rest of the team wasn't really great, but like you said, 34 points from Keanu Pinder, stepping up with the absence of Bryce Cotton. Hopefully Bryce Cotton returns soon, because who wouldn't want to see that man on the court? So hopefully his rib, I think it was a fractured rib in the end or something to do with his rib. So
just a random pop.
And there's no really rehab for ribs. He just kind of lounges around until it heals, right? Is that sort of how it works?
Not a bad life. Got all his facilities.
Yeah.
But obviously he wants to be back on the court, and we all want him to be back on the court as well.
Absolutely.
Probably one of the greatest players in NBL history.
Yeah, 100%. And Southeast Melbourne and Illawarra had a game as well. 88-82 win for Illawarra here. Pretty solid game on the board all round for the Hawks. Tyler Harvey was a standout with 22 points. No surprises there.
I think good game for Southeast Melbourne as well. Only losing by 6. I thought Illawarra would handle this one a little bit easier than they did. Southeast Melbourne, they definitely look like a different team since they've got their new coach.
Well, obviously, they played the Breakers before this Hawks game, and they absolutely blew us out, which we will get into very, very shortly. So people were thinking maybe they're on a bit of a hot streak with 2 back-to-back wins, but Illawarra kind of shut them down pretty quick there. And Brizzy and Tassie had a game as well. Not a very exciting game, pretty just standard performance. Obviously, Brizzy, one of the worst teams in the NBL. So Tassie got a 87-79 win over Brizzy. No one really dominated. It was just, I think they had 4 guys in double-digit scoring, so
Milton
Doyle doing his thing.
As they do.
Yeah, of course. So not a crazy exciting game. Pretty stock standard one for Tassie there. And then the last game of the round last night, Melbourne United against Cairns Taipans. What happened, Will?
Well, this one is probably the biggest win of the season so far by any team. 106-63. Crazy. 43-point win for Melbourne United. I can't say I didn't see this one happening. I didn't think the scoreline would be that big, but
Melbourne were going to win, but
they were going to win.
Not by 43.
Did not see this one happening.
No way.
Flynn Cameron, Kiwi, he had 18 points and 10 boards, double-double.
Love it.
So crazy game for him. Great to see.
And other than those are all the games other than the Breakers for the round 6. A pretty entertaining round to say the least, especially with the Adelaide and Cairns game. But this is where it gets a little bit sour, but then it picks up a little bit better for the Breakers. The first game of the round, of course, that we had on Thursday night, down in Christchurch at Wolfbrook Arena. One of them. This was not a pretty sight, Will.
No, this was sad to watch. Quite emotional times for Breakers fans. I thought this was just going to be the downfall of our season.
I did too. I really did.
Losing 88-62 at home. Maybe the Christchurch fans weren't getting quite as involved as us Aucklanders. So keep the home games up here in Auckland.
I think it's also something we should mention. Few injuries this round. Mitch McCarron, Mojave King, and Max Starling all sitting out both games of this round for the Breakers, picking up some injuries. This could be an effect from the tour, potentially. Maybe too much fatigue.
Could be.
So, 3 injuries to 3 very, very key players for the Breakers. I think that was a huge impact on this massive game. You call it a blowout, a 26-point loss to a team that had just fired their head coach literally the round prior.
A team we beat in round 1 as well, so they've obviously evened up the season series with us. Not looking good, but hopefully it's just a sign that Southeast Melbourne are that good team we thought they were going to be.
Exactly.
And, losing to a good team. Not the worst, but by that margin, we obviously got to fix some things.
I also noticed, obviously, we had another game in Sydney, which we'll get into very shortly, of course. We were probably trying to load manage a little bit, even with the 3 players out, because we probably wanted to save, PJC, Matt Mooney, all the good players for that game against Sydney. So they didn't really play as many minutes as they should have, considering the 3 losses were very key players for the team. But this was no excuse. We shot 36% from the field on the night. 5 Southeast Melbourne Phoenix players in double figures too, so defense wasn't there either. So not the greatest game. Honestly, game. There's not very many positives to take away from this. PJC, 19 points and 6 assists. It's the only bright spot from the game, really, Will.
He always is. He always finds a way to impact the game regardless. And he'll never have a bad game in the Breakers jersey. So
even when he shot 5 of whatever from the field in the last round,
he had 5 steals. So
still had something to do. But look, the boys had to put this one behind them very, very quickly because they had to get on a plane and head to Sydney, and they played.
Not confident for this following game.
Well, 26-point loss to Southeast Melbourne. I thought we're going to head over to Sydney and get absolutely embarrassed. Well,
we did not see this one coming.
What happened?
We beat Sydney at home. 93-88. So, massive win there. Definitely our biggest win of the season so far. Yeah. When you consider how they beat us in the preseason games quite easily, effortlessly, for us to come around, we've obviously figured some things out. We had our players back. Matt Mooney, I want to talk about him. He's really stepped up. He's found his rhythm, I think, and he's proving why we obviously used one of those import slots to get him over onto the team. Him and PJC are looking quite unstoppable in the backcourt for us there.
You could almost argue that Matt Mooney and PJC are one of the best backcourts in the NBL following this round for sure.
100%.
Like I said, injuries, they didn't play. Mitch McCarron, Max Starling, Mojave King didn't play. The minutes spread this game was ridiculous, and I see why they would have rested some of the boys against Southeast Melbourne, because PJC played 38 minutes.
And you got to remember, these are 40-minute games. It's not like games. The NBA, so he only sat for 2 minutes of the game. So playing 38, that might take a bit of a toll on the body, but hopefully
it was worth it.
A guy like him.
It was worth it.
Yeah, it was worth it. We got the win. Matt Mooney as well, 36 points. And Kareem Lopez, obviously he's back from that little injury he had. 30 points. 30 minutes, sorry.
36 minutes, Matt Mooney. 30 minutes, I almost said points too, for Kareem Lopez. And Jonah Bolden also played 30 minutes. Sam Meninga, I'm not sure what happened. He only played, I think, 17 minutes. I think he looked like he went down with some sort of injury during the game as well.
Comes back from
no reports on that front with Sam. Hopefully he's back for the games this weekend. I see why they've played this many minutes, because we don't actually have a game till Saturday. So we have a week off. Yeah. Well, 6 days until we come
Probably
back.
Going to be one of our longest rests of the season, considering we have to play catch-up.
We're playing double headers most of the year now, so huge minute spread from the boys. PJC doing PJC things, Will. How did he go on the night?
21 points on 50% efficiency, so a great game from PJC with 8 dimes as well, so he's finding his teammates. He's leading the NBL in assists by, I think, an assist more than second place. So he's dominant in every aspect of the game, apart from maybe shot blocks. But yeah, he made some tough buckets in this one as well. Yeah. He crossed one guy up. That was a tough little midi that he hit. Yeah. PJC. We're never going to say anything bad about PJC on this podcast. So if you want any PJC slander, you're not going to find it here.
Like I said, PJC does not score less than 10 points in a Breakers jersey this year. And if we do, that means somebody else or 3 or 4 other players in the team have stepped up. But he doesn't have a bad game. Regardless of how the scoreline looks, Southeast Melbourne has a good game regardless of a 26-point loss. Comes out and shows out in Sydney. Last year in the play-in tournament, he was absolutely cooking as well, so he's just continuing that form. He must love playing in Sydney, Will.
Yeah, no, he's phenomenal. Some other guys I want to mention, Kareem Lopez.
What a game from the youngster.
What a game. Double-double, 13 points, 10 boards. I didn't see him getting 10 boards in a game this season.
No way.
That's crazy. Crazy good for him. Very impressed with him. I think he's finding his feet in this one. He's really finding a way to make an impact for the Breakers. And if he just continues this trajectory, he's going to be a phenomenal player for us next season.
Well, yeah, because like you said just now, we got him next season too, and he's already showing glimpses of him being a really, really impactful player. Obviously, he came in 17 years old. I mean, he spoke English. I was going to say he didn't speak a lick of English, but he does. But he came in pre-season and the first couple rounds, looked pretty average. Obviously, probably quite nervous. A bunch of new people, being a 17-year-old, never playing in this sort of level before. We go over to the States, and he really impressed in the US Tour. I'm not going to lie.
Yes.
Impressed a lot in the US Tour. He's come back. He's looked okay. Free throws look a bit janky still. Better than me.
You can't talk.
Better than me.
You cannot talk.
Better than my 0 for 9. But 13 points and 10 boards in a really vital game. If he just continues on this trajectory, like you said, Will, he's going to be great.
He's going to be phenomenal. And another player who really stepped up, you mentioned before, Sam Menenga went down with something, playing 17 minutes, not like him. But Freddie Gillespie, our boy, the import we brought over to probably start in the center spot. He obviously lost that to Sam. He stepped up in this one. 11 points, 100% from the field. Phenomenal outing from him, and 3 blocks as well. So that's what we want him there for, the defense. Who knows? He could make a run at this depoy still if he can have 3 blocks in a game, every game. It's great from Freddie.
Yeah, he's only playing like 20-odd minutes a game. He played 22 in this one. Jonah Bolden with 30. And obviously Sam went down. Only 8 players touched the floor tonight. The floor last night. But look, Freddie, my theory is, and we're clipping this up, here's my theory. So Taco Fall is in the country.
Yeah.
Practice player, rehabbing his quad. He's come all the way over here, didn't play a single game for us in the US Tour. I don't want to say it because I do think Freddie is probably a really nice guy and trying his heart out. But I think if Taco comes back and is healthy and does really well in practices, there is a slight chance that Freddie Gillespie may get dropped and Taco fulfills that third import spot.
Yeah, I know. It's tough on Freddie, obviously, but when you have the opportunity to get a guy like Taco Fall onto the team, obviously a former NBA player, I mean, we'll see how he goes. That's the only question marks. He's unproven. Obviously, there's advantages and disadvantages to being 7'6". I mean, he'd be great for those lobs from PJC, and if we need a last-second tip-in basket to win the game, just throw it to him at the rim and it will go in. So,
and Freddie, we brought in Freddie for defense.
Yeah.
Taco Fall's 7'6". I think he's going to be quite good in interior.
But the only problem is, like you saw in the NBA with Taco, is he's very slow getting up and down the court, which is obviously what you'd expect from a 7'6" guy.
Yeah.
That would be the only question marks I'd have around him, being able to run up and down the floor, especially in the NBL. I feel as though it's quite a high-paced game.
Definitely.
So we'll see what they do on that front. But if Freddie Gillespie continues with performances like this, I don't see how you can drop him. So I'm rooting for Freddie. If he can keep this up, I'm sorry, but I don't know where a spot is for Taco on the Breakers fin.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he did his role completely. He did his role perfectly, actually.
Yeah.
Not missing a single shot. 100% from free throw line as well, which you need to see from your big.
Yeah.
And he's obviously had some sort of impact on the defensive end with 3 blocks. And speaking of defense as well for the boys last night, only 1 player from Sydney in double figures last night.
And guess who it was? Former Breakers player, Isaiah Liafa. His first and only game where he's actually played well this season.
Yeah, he's been pretty average.
I think he was averaging 0.4 points per game coming into this one. So that must have been he'd scored 1 bucket in the whole season.
He wasn't playing
Comes
well.
into this one, puts up 23 points on us, 6 threes. Obviously, we're used to seeing that sort of output from Liafa, considering he was wearing the Breakers jersey last season. But he was cooking us. Maybe he was trying to make a little point to the Breakers.
It was his decision to leave, so I'm not really sure. Do you have a chip on his shoulder? I don't know. But
Who knows?
23 points for Liafa. I mean, you love to see it.
You love to see it.
You love to see it as a Kiwi fan, somebody who plays for the Tall Blacks, played for the Saints for the last few years, somebody that plays in our own backyard. But why do you have to do it against us?
It's all right. We still got the win.
Got the win.
Hopefully, but I would like to see Liafa have more of a role on that Sydney team. I thought he was going to be starting at the two spot going into
the preseason. He looked like he was going to have a huge impact on the team, but he's just inefficient and hasn't really found his groove in Sydney yet. I mean,
hopefully he has now.
Season. Yeah, 100%.
Good for him.
So good on Liafa, but a great honestly, I thought if we'd lost the game against Sydney, I would have come onto the pod and said, scrap the tour, scrap the front office, 0 for 4 since we came back almost. If Perth had Bryce, we would have lost that game, 100%. Chances are, I thought we were going to lose to Sydney. That would have been 0 and 4 technically.
But now we're 4 and 2.
It was 2 and 2 since we've come back.
Yeah.
So
4 and 2 on the season. It's a good start.
We're third on the ladder still. Obviously, we're still playing catch up. A lot of these teams have already played 9 games. We've only played 6.
Yeah.
So we have double headers to catch up. But considering we had the tour, and I was a bit nervous thinking we'd come back and drop like 5 games in a row.
Yeah.
2 for 2 since we've come back. Really, really, really positive. Do I think we should do the tour next year? No, I think it's time to scrap it. Because we've dropped a game to Brisbane and South East Melbourne, who are 2 of the bottom teams in the NBL, really. So they should have been wins. But a win against Perth and Sydney, who are mid-table to top-table teams, it's a bit random.
Or at least do the tour, I think, with other teams. I think other teams should share that burden of having to come back and play catch-up against one another.
Well, it's not the NBL's choice. It's the Breakers' choice.
Yeah. But, I mean, I'd like to see at least 3 or 4 NBL teams going over to play NBA next season.
Well, they used to, and then they've just kind of decided not to. And I think they're probably quite smart. Because, look, if we didn't go on the USA tour, we could still be undefeated. The only 2 games we've lost were Brisbane and South East Melbourne, 2 teams that we should beat comfortably.
Obviously, dealing with injuries, though, and I think South East Melbourne have found their groove. I don't think we would have won that game regardless. Okay. They played phenomenal down there in Christchurch, so you got to give the props where they're due. But speaking of double headers, Finn, this coming week, we've got another 2 games on the schedule. Adelaide 36ers. I know you're going to that one, Finn. Unfortunately, I can't make that one, but that will be a great home game. Saturday night, Spark Arena. It's going to be popping off, guys. Get down there and you might be able to get your autograph with Finn James. Maybe a picture as well. Who knows? We'll see what mood he's in.
I'm really looking forward to this one. Now that Montrezl Harrell is here, and he's here for the whole season, I get to see my Clipper Nation legend, 6th man of the year, of course. I wouldn't call him a legend, but like Montrezl Harrell, I'm looking forward to seeing him in person with my own eyes. I'm gonna try to sneak a picture.
Oh, you got to, Finn.
I don't know how I'll do it.
Maybe sneak a little word of the pod as well in there, and we'll try to get him on. Who knows?
Montrez, if you I was trying to recruit the NBA players when they're signing all of their big extensions. Hey Montrez, if you want to come on the pod,
we don't need any money from you. Just a little bit of publicity.
I'll pay you. I'll pay him.
I'll pay him.
And the second game of the round is Melbourne United in Melbourne. That is on Monday night, so we won't be able to cover that game on the next pod. But obviously, we'll have a big breakdown of the Adelaide game. So in episode 11 or episode 12, even we'll have 3 games to digest.
Yeah.
And next episode we'll only have the 36ers. But all in all, a decently positive round 6 for the Breakers. It would have been nice to have gone 2-0, which I wasn't really expecting after, especially going down to South East Melbourne. I thought we would have gone 1-1 because I wasn't confident going to the Sydney game. But here we are, 1-1, 3rd on the table, 4-2. PJC and Matt Mooney finding their groove. Really positive. Let's just hope they can continue riding this wave into next round and get 2 wins against some of the best teams in the NBL.
Yeah, another great round of the NBL schedule. It's really exciting. I'm really invested this year. I know previous years I've obviously been rooting for the Breakers a lot, but this year I just feel something different. I feel something in the water, Finn. I think the Breakers, we're going to prove a lot of haters wrong.
I think so.
And I think we have a shot at that title. So make sure you tune in every week, guys, for your Breakers news. But anyway, what else is back, Finn? This is a monumental time for basketball fans all around the world. Probably the happiest time of the year for me. NBA, it's back.
Christmas came early.
Christmas
It always
came early.
does. It's back. It's in full swing.
Yep.
Games every day. The best basketball
so
on the planet. The Clippers are playing. The Blazers are playing. Wembanyama's playing basketball. We love to see that. No one cares about the latest draft class, of course. It was bad.
Yeah, it was.
But in terms of all the new look teams and everything coming together and just people and players and just new stadiums.
Oh, mate. The
There's
Celtics.
There's so much.
Let's get right into it. The Boston Celtics, obviously starting their run at the two-peat, coming off that finals win last season, and they're looking great. They've picked up just where they left off. They opened up with a win over the Knicks by 20, 30 points. Absolute blowout.
Jason Tatum had 37 and 10 on that night, by the way.
I think he's had 30 in every game so far. He is on demon time. I think Tatum, he's after that MVP this season.
He wants to prove everyone wrong, especially after the NBA Finals where he, fell short as the Finals MVP, because honestly, he didn't really impress me that much in the Finals last year. And Jaylen Brown obviously getting that Finals MVP. I think Jason Tatum might have taken that to heart.
Yeah, I think he did. And then everything that went on with USA Basketball as well, a lot of the Boston Celtics were quite disrespected.
Well, Jaylen Brown didn't even make the team.
He didn't even make the team. And they had 3 other players from the Bostons. The one guy who won Finals MVP, Jaylen Brown, doesn't make it.
Okay, there was more to it than that, though.
They have Jason Tatum, Jrue Holiday, and Derek White all make the team over Jaylen Brown. And then also, Tatum doesn't even get played, really, or utilized by Steve Kerr. There were games where he played 0 minutes for USA Basketball, so I think they're all taking that quite personally.
They look unreal. They look like the best team in the league, again.
100%.
And Kristaps Porzingis hasn't even touched the floor yet, guys.
Yeah.
They don't even have their fourth option on the floor, and they're still doing this. Derek White is continuing to impress me.
He's so good.
I always saw him as just an average role player. This guy's insane. He could, honestly, he had 26 points in that opener as well. He's shooting the lights out from 3.
He could be an all-star this season.
He could be an all-star, which is crazy to say, because I never would have in my life, and the whole time I've watched NBA basketball, said Derek White could potentially be an NBA all-star.
Shout out Derek White, proving us all wrong.
That Celtics team is just insane.
Yeah.
Joe Mazzulla is just doing it right as well. Like, there's just so many things going right in Boston, and look, we had them first in the East. It's going to happen again.
Yeah. Speaking of out west, who knows? Possible finals matchup this season.
Dude,
the 2 most legendary
what is going
teams.
on?
Who knows? We could see a Boston versus Lakers NBA Finals. I could see that happening, especially with the way the Lakers have started. 3-0 start for them as well. And I saw a stat, Finn. Every time LeBron James has started 2-0 in his career, he's made the finals. So that could be a telling sign. They look phenomenal. LeBron, he's not even slowed down. I'll admit it.
Do you see his stat line against the Kings yesterday?
Crazy.
34, 14, and 10 at 39 years old, pushing 40 at the end of the year.
I'll admit it. I thought he was going to have a down year. I thought this was going to be the year where LeBron might regress a little bit. It's not happening.
It's not possible.
LeBron, he could win MVP. Who knows? At this rate,
they can't give it to him anymore.
Him and Anthony Davis, they both look phenomenal. They're proving that they're probably the best duo in the NBA still, even with LeBron being almost 40 years old. And JJ Redick looks like he could have just been that missing piece all along. Darvin Ham.
Yeah, I was going to say, it really goes to show how trash Darvin Ham was as a head coach.
Yeah, we have a mutual friend, Finn, who can't stand Darvin Ham, and he's been explaining the situation to me a little bit, and I may be on board with him at the moment. JJ Redick could be the missing piece.
I've seen clips and obviously watching Lakers basketball. Their offense looks so much better.
Yeah.
Offense looks better. Austin Reeves has been playing good.
Rui
Hachimura is playing good. Max Christie's getting game time. He looks really good. Dalton Connect's getting game time. He looks solid for a rookie.
Yep.
The Lakers look pretty scary.
They look pretty
scary. They're going to be... I mean, we've got our Western Conference list at the end of this episode, so you'll be surprised with some. We might have them. But the Lakers look crazy. But well, what's going on in Indiana, by the way?
Indiana. I thought we had to mention this. Tyrese Halliburton. He hasn't looked the same. He had a bit of a drop off last season after the All-Star break, and he just hasn't seemed to find his rhythm yet. Very poor start for him. He had a 0-point game the other day. Did not think I'd ever see that.
I think he forgot how to pass the basketball too
and shoot. His 3-pointer has not looked good. He picked it up again today.
Yeah, they just played the Sixers earlier. Tyrese Maxey, I think, finished with 47.
47, yeah.
47 in an OT win. Halliburton had a crazy game-tying shot. Had a chance to tie the game up in OT, but missed a free throw.
Yeah.
But I don't know what's going on in Indiana. Halliburton's struggling.
Hot take here, Finn. In a 2020, I think they were 2020. In a 2020 redraft, he might be going number 4 for me now.
Tyrese Maxey?
No, Tyrese Halliburton.
Oh, Halliburton.
I've got Anthony Edwards
I can't remember.
Tyrese Maxey and LaMelo Ball. I think I might take all three of those players over Tyrese Halliburton unless he can return to his form from the start of last year.
Not ideal in Indiana. Obviously, a few trades around as well. Knicks, new look Timberwolves.
Yep.
Julius Randle's been playing some good basketball.
Phenomenal. He had a poor first game, but he really stepped it up, and he's efficient as well. So
Which is crazy because Julius Randle's not an efficient basketball player. No. But it's funny, we're all saying who wins this trade, both teams win, both teams lose, who knows. But Julius Randle on the side of Anthony Edwards looks like a better fit than Cat was, which is crazy to say. Yeah. Crazy to say, but I genuinely think Julius Randle might be a better fit next to Anthony Edwards than Karl Anthony Towns was.
Early on, it's looking like the Timberwolves have won that trade, especially considering they also got Dante DiVincenzo in that deal, and that guy, he's just the perfect role player for any team that wants to be on the playoffs.
100%.
Another thing I noticed, Finn, Mikal Bridges, obviously in the offseason, there was lots of talk about his broken jump shot.
Oh my god.
It looked awful. He has that little hitch in it where he just I don't know. It's unexplainable, the jump shot. But anyway, in the first game for the Knicks,
first half was woeful.
He started 0 for 7, I think, from 3.
Not well.
Crazy. And then randomly, he just changes his jump shot mid-game back to the Mikal Bridges of old, and voila, he starts making them again.
Yeah, I don't know what the trainers over in New York are doing, but don't touch the man's jumper.
Yeah.
There's a few other players where jump shots are looking a bit funky. Jeremy Sohan in particular.
Ooh.
Not sure what's going on there. Chet Holmgren's is looking a bit funky as well, despite him playing really good basketball, by the way, in Oklahoma. Yep. But he's not shooting very well from 3.
No.
I'm not sure what these NBA trainers are doing to these guys' jump shots, but
they're corrupting them.
They need to go find Chris Brickley and fix their jumpers because it's not looking good.
If you want to work on your free throws, guys, find this guy called Finn James as well.
Yeah, if you want to go 0 for 9, hit me up. Hit me up. But the NBA's back, and we're all just so excited. We're obviously going to be covering massive storylines, games, rivalries, of course. We're huge fans of basketball, not just the NBL. Duh. Who doesn't watch the NBA? And something we will do as well, obviously, we got the jerseys behind us. I'm a Clippers fan. Will's a Blazers fan. We got to do some glazing. We won't do it too long every episode because I know not everyone's a fan of the Clippers and the Blazers. But what have you seen from the Blazers so far this season? Obviously, I think they're 3 games in.
3 games in. Currently, they're playing the Pelicans in their 3rd game.
I'll actually tell you what the score is. We got a live update. Live update.
They were up about 20, so I'm confident to say that we have got our first win of the season. 1 and 2.
Just finished. 125 to 103 over the Pelicans.
Excellent. So there's our first win of the season. And as Finn was saying again before, guys, obviously we're going to want to talk about our 2 favorite teams. But if you guys don't like to see that, just let us know down below in the comments. Yeah. Obviously, we'll understand if you just want to keep it more general NBA news. But yeah, for all you Clipper and Blazers fans out there, yeah, you're lucky. Anyway, Blazers. Bit of a iffy start to the season. 1 and 2. I'm happy with what I've seen, to be perfectly honest. We lost a close one to the Pelicans in our first game against them. Zion Williamson with a big clutch block on Anthony Simons to win them the game after a Brandon Ingram fadeaway game winner. Yeah, and against the Warriors in our first game, we were up on them about 10 points. We've had leads in all 3 of our games, 10 to 20 point leads. We've just struggled to hold on to them in that second half. Bit reminiscent of the Breakers. But Anthony Simons, probably he is one of my favorite players in the league now, obviously playing on the Blazers. I want to see more from him. I don't think he's utilized enough.
Well, I'll tell you how many points he had in the game today, Will.
How many did he have?
27.
Oh,
and Jeremy Grant had 28.
I don't like Jeremy Grant.
FYI, Anthony Simons and Jeremy Grant are both on my fantasy team. They're looking like pretty good picks.
Yeah, he stole them off me. But yeah, Jeremy Grant, Denny Avdia. I'm sorry, some Blazers fans may disagree with me. I don't like them. I want them off our team. Jeremy Grant does not fit our timeline, and Denny Avdia, I think he's way overhyped. He takes away roles from other players I want to see more of. We have a very stacked team. I want to see more of Tamani Kamara, Jabari Walker, Chris Murray, guys like that. I think they need more game time to develop, and I don't like those 2 guys on our team.
Didn't Chauncey Billups say Denny Avdia is the best player on your team?
Yeah, Chauncey Billups, I want him gone as well.
Yeah, what's your opinion on Chauncey Billups?
Yeah, he reminds me of Darvin Ham, to be perfectly honest. He doesn't draw up plays, and I think there's plenty of better coaches out there in the league. Who knows? Even bring back Terry Stotts. I miss Terry Stotts. But all in all, we're looking good. Ayton and Klingon as well, our big man duo, they're looking really good. I'm quite high on Donovan Klingon. I think he could have a phenomenal year. He's a great rebounder, great shot blocker.
Needs some more minutes. I think he only played 13 today.
Scoot Henderson as well. He's looking a lot better from his rookie season. A lot more efficient, less turnovers. and he's one of the best passers in the league already in
the league?
sophomore season. He's averaging about 8 assists a game so far.
Okay, well, fair play to
He
him.
finds his players.
Fair play to him.
But yeah, that's enough. Enough Blazers talk. I'll let you get into your Clippers news, Finn.
I won't bore you too much with Clippers news, but we have a 1-1 start to the year. We have the Warriors. I think we're about to start that. Obviously, the game will be done by the time the pod goes up because it's going up tonight. We're 1-1. The new arena, I'll just want to highlight this real quick. Shout out Steve Ballmer, $2 billion into this brand new arena. It might be one of the best arenas in US sports.
I think it is.
It could be the best. It could be the best.
The wall's working.
The wall actually worked. So we had the Suns in our season opener, of course. KD missed back-to-back free throws. Yeah. Devin Booker missed a clutch free throw. And in their post-match interviews, they were asked about the wall. And they admitted that they got distracted by the wall.
Yeah.
So shout out Steve Ballmer. We actually have a genuine home court advantage now.
Yep.
We had history of doing better on the road in playoff situations. Now that first of all, we have to make the playoffs this year. Which we might or might not. We actually have a genuine home court advantage. But 1-1 to start the year. We had an OT loss against the Suns in the first game. James Harden was decently impressive. Unfortunately, couldn't put it away. KD had a crazy game winner. I won't lie. Yeah. And then we had a game against the Nuggets yesterday. Didn't think we would win this one in Denver. Jokic had 45 points, 7 for 11 from 3. I thought we were done for. But insert Norman Powell. 37 points for Norman Norman, who I said was going to win 6th Man of the Year this year. Obviously, he hasn't.
He's starting.
He has been starting in the absence of Kawhi Leonard. So he had 37 points on 7 from 11 from 3. Crazy efficiency. And don't you ever sleep on my boy Ivica Zubac. I had him 10th on the center list, and so far in 2 games, he's averaging 22 and 12.
The drop-off's going to be crazy.
He is a genuine option on our offense, which is crazy because Zubac has been on the team for 4 years and we never go to him for anything.
2 games in.
Let me speak. Ivica Zubac is a genuine offensive option on the Clippers this year, and James Harden had 16 assists yesterday. And I'm telling you now, who knows how the season goes? If Kawhi plays enough basketball, if Kawhi comes back, boys, the unit's there, DDJ's there, Kevin Porter Jr.'s there, Kai Jones is there.
Who?
Derrick Jones Jr.
Who?
Okay.
Who's that?
Crazy. Yeah, he wasn't in the finals last year, right? He wasn't.
If you're relying on Derrick Jones Jr. to be one of your best players...
Well, no, he's a really good role player, okay? And Terrence Mann's there. Shout out my guy T-Man. Look, I don't know how the season is going to go because the Western Conference is disgustingly stacked. Grossly stacked, in fact. I don't even want to talk about it. We're going to get into it very soon. We're not making the top 6 seed. I've ruled that out completely. I've ruled it out.
Thank God.
Do we make the play-in? Who knows? It all depends on Kawhi's availability. That is my little spiel on the Clippers. I am so sorry I took over the mic for way too long.
I have a quick question for you, Finn. You obviously mentioned the new Inuit Dome and the incredible home court advantage that gives you. Do you think, speaking of the Denver Nuggets as well, who you played away, what do you think is more of a home court advantage? Having an arena like the Inuit Dome, where you have the wall, or somewhere like in Denver, where they have that altitude advantage, obviously playing there for most of the season, at like 2,000 feet, something
Whatever
ridiculous, where the away teams come in and they're just not used to that altitude, which affects their stamina. What do you think is more of an advantage?
Denver definitely has an advantage.
Denver?
You get gassed.
Yeah.
You hear stories from players that get traded to Denver, and it says it takes them like a decent amount of time to adjust. Like their opening season camps, like their training camps at the start of the year, they said it's really hard for new players in Denver. So I still think Denver definitely probably have a home court advantage in that sense.
Crazy
where,
OP.
It is pretty OP, but at the same time, when you have the Inuit Dome with a wall, it's pretty cool.
Second best thing you can do.
Well, I mean, if you want to build a home court advantage, well, Steve Ballmer did it. Shout out Steve Ballmer. There's 118 toilets in the arena, by the way.
Imagine Denver copycat the Clippers, and they build their own wall
and they have a wall
out in Denver, and they have the altitude advantage. No one's winning in Denver.
No, you can't. 82-0 season, potentially.
Anyway, moving on. This week we obviously last week we started a new segment, our top 5 players at each position in the NBL.
Yeah.
We did point guards last week. This week, shooting guards. Let's get right into it, Finn. Who do we have?
We'll run through it super quick. At number 5, we have Ian Clark from Melbourne United. We were tossing up whether he's a shooting guard or not with Chris Golding, but Ian Clark is there. Who's at number 4, Will?
Number 4, we got our guy, Matt Mooney. He's really found his rhythm. I think he leads the league in 3-pointers made, so he's definitely deserving of that number 4 spot. Number 3?
We had, obviously, Trey Cal last week. We got his counterpart in the backcourt, Tyler Harvey. Been in the league for a number of years now, completely dominated. Very good scorer. He's at number 3. Number 2, Will?
Number 2, the boy from down in Tassie, Milton Doyle, obviously after his Aussie citizenship. Hopefully he gets that. But
Is that happening?
I think he's after he wants to play for the Boomers.
That's cool.
The
I
Boomers.
didn't know that.
So, yeah, Milton Doyle, he comes in at number 2. I think he's that main guy down there in Tassie.
Absolutely. And number 1, this is very unanimous. And if you have any other opinion on who the best shooting guard in the NBL is, you're wrong. It's DJ Vasiljevic from Adelaide 36ers. Just up there with, that big 4 that they have over in Adelaide.
Crazy.
So DJ Vasiljevic is the best shooting guard in the NBA.
Anyway, now let's get into it. We wanted to leave more time for this than the Eastern Conference last week. We're going to get into our Western Conference standings predictions.
This is going to
be a tough one. Obviously, this is not going to be identical to how it actually goes. This is just
No
our
way.
opinions, guys. So let us know how you would have your rankings and what you think we got wrong. But be friendly, okay? Obviously, we're going to have a lot of people disagree with where we've ranked our 2 teams.
Well, maybe not the 15th. The 15th seed, I think, is it's pretty set in stone. Do you think, Will? We both got the Jazz.
Jazz. Sorry,
That's
Lowry.
about it. If you're a Jazz fan, I'm really sorry. I love Lowry Markkinen, but that's all you got, really.
Yeah.
Keontae George, I picked him in fantasy. I might regret that. Colin Sexton looking like the better pick there. But Jazz at 15th. Will, I'm really sorry, but I have...
we'll just skip over your 14th pick here.
We won't. We have the Portland Trail Blazers at 14th. I'm so sorry, but it's just... I know you're optimistic as a fan, but I just can't have them higher. I'm
Sad
sorry.
times.
I'm really sorry.
Yeah, I know. Join the club, Finn. But we're going to prove you all wrong.
Okay.
3 good games to start the season, in my opinion.
Well, you 1 and 2.
Yeah, but there's positives to take away from
Okay.
losses.
Well, you Blazers at 14th. Well, who's your 14th seed?
14 for me. I've got the Houston Rockets.
I just think that is just too low.
The West is so stacked. Like I've seen multiple people say, I think this is going to be the best 15th seed in NBA history this
It
year.
could be. It could be.
Obviously, the Rockets, I think they could probably be a play-in team any other year. But the West is so stacked. I've got them at 14. I know it seems low, but I just think they're too young, inexperienced. I know you're going to say the same thing about the Blazers, but Sengun, Jalen Green, obviously very talented individuals.
Even though Sengun's been a bit average so far to start the year. But I think that's very low for the Rockets. But I don't have them making the playoffs either, just a quick teaser. But 13th, this might be surprising, and I honestly hope they prove me wrong. I had the Spurs at 13th, which might be a bit low, but this all just comes down to Wembanyama, I think.
Yeah.
If he averages like 25 this year, and Chris Paul averages 10 assists, and then, I don't know, supporting cast of Devin Vassell and Keldon Johnson, Champagne's looking pretty good this year. But like you said, Will, this conference is disgustingly stacked.
Yeah.
Chances of them being higher than this is pretty low. But, I mean, there's a chance they prove me wrong because this is going to be pretty all over the place, I think, this year. But I have the Spurs at 13.
Yeah, I'm a little bit higher on the Spurs. At 13, and I promise I didn't do this out of spite just because you put the Blazers at 14, I have the LA Clippers at 13 for me. I know this all depends on Kawhi Leonard. If Kawhi Leonard comes back and he's healthy, they're a playing team. They might even be a 8 or 9 seed, depending on if you get prime James Harden or not.
Yeah.
But for me, I've seen enough of Kawhi and how unhealthy he is and how he rarely ever plays. Last season was his first time playing 60 games plus in a long time. He's not going to play that many this season. His knee is just regressed too much. And I don't think James Harden is anywhere near the version of himself from back in those Houston days. I don't think he can carry you guys into a play-in spot, in my opinion. So that is why I have the Clippers at 13. Sorry, Finn.
I'm not even going to look at you for the rest of the list.
You had the Blazers at 14.
I did have the Blazers at 14. Nah, you know what? It's fair, and I understand how it's justified. And yeah, well, I don't have them that low for obvious reasons. I'm a fan. I'm not going to have them out the playoffs. So, look, number 12, I have the Rockets. A little bit higher than you. I just think they're... Well, a little bit higher. 2 spots is probably a lot in the West this year too.
Yeah.
So, I think, like I said in a previous episode, that Alperen Sengun could win MIP this year. Not looking very good so far. But, however, the rest of the Rockets roster is really, really good. Jalen Green already sort of taking off from last season, despite him having a really slow last season start. He came right near the end of the year. He's looking already pretty good. Fred VanVleet looks solid as well. Rest of the roster, a little bit all over the place. Dylan Brooks, not really sure what he's up to nowadays, but I've got the Rockets at 12.
Fair enough. 12, I'm going to get a lot of people unhappy with this opinion. I've got the Warriors. I don't have the Warriors making the playoffs this season. I think Their time is over, finally. Can't stand the Warriors. I never liked them, obviously. I think a lot of people can't stand the Warriors. Steph Curry, obviously he's going to do his thing, but he's the only good player on your team. Draymond Green, he's not good anymore. Buddy Hield's looked phenomenal in the first few games. Who knows? Maybe Klay Thompson was never really that good, and it was just playing next to Steph Curry makes him an elite
He's been good on
shooting
the
guard.
Mavs, though, which is
He
crazy.
has.
I didn't think he would be, but he's played pretty well so far.
Yeah, I've got the Warriors at 12. I don't think Steph can carry them alone. I know he did in
Yeah.
2020 or whatever it was.
The year they won.
The year they won, but
They still had a pretty good team that year.
I don't see it happening this year. They've got Kuminga as well.
Oh, it's up with
looking
Aaron
bad.
Wiggins as well. Andrew
Yeah.
Wiggins.
They're
Just-
at 12 for me.
Fair enough. Funny, I have the Warriors at 11th. So, sort of, honestly, the same as well. Just don't really even need to get into it. I just don't see them... I don't really see them making the play-in this year at all.
No. 11 for me. I'm a little bit higher on them. The San Antonio Spurs. I think they could push for a play-in spot, if I'm being honest. Wembanyama, obviously it all comes down to him. Who knows? He could average like 26, 12 boards and 5 blocks if he really wanted to. And if that happens, they could be a top 4 seed. Who knows?
Top 4!
Who knows? If Wemby puts up those numbers all year with Chris Paul as probably one of the greatest passers in NBA history, throwing him lobs, which he has been doing in the first few games of the season, they could be crazy good, but I don't see it happening just yet. Give them a few more years, but they're going to come in at 11 for me.
We'll hit number 10.
Play-in time.
This is a biased pick, of course. I have the Clippers at 10. I was optimistic. I could have put them higher. But if we keep trending in the same direction with Kawhi Leonard being out indefinitely, the chance of us being any higher than the 10th seed is pretty low. I still think we sneak into the play-in tournament with our current roster without Kawhi Leonard.
Fair enough.
So that's why I have them at 10.
And at 10 for me, I'm in the same boat as Finn. I'm quite optimistic here, putting my boys, the Portland Trail Blazers, at the 10 seed. I think we sneak in. Maybe there's a little bit of a sign there, how we both put our teams at 10, just sneaking into the play-in. Maybe they're both not going to do as good as we think.
No,
but
I'm scared.
I
bro.
have my. I'm praying. I'm praying for Portland. 1-2 start, not the worst in the world, and I'm high on Anthony Simons. Shaden Sharp, he's yet to come back as well. So
True.
Bounciest player in NBA history. Yes, I said it. 49-inch vertical, higher than Michael Jordan. So
Fair enough. At number 9, some people might not be happy with this, aka Liam Heap. I got the Pelicans at number 9. I really like the Pelicans. Don't get me wrong. If Zion plays over 70 games this year, this might change, but I'm not sure. They have a really good team. The rest of the West is just really good. So I have the Pels at 9.
9 for me. I have the Sacramento Kings. Might be a bit low for them. Who knows? They've got obviously a very good big three: De'Aaron Fox, DeMar DeRozan, and Sabonis out there in Sacramento. But I don't think it's going to work. I think DeMar DeRozan, he's a bit of an ISO scorer, and De'Aaron Fox needs the ball in his hands as well, and Sabonis as well. He's a very playmaking big, Jokic-esque type of big. I don't see it working, but I think they'll still make the play-in with a team like that. Chris Murray as well. Keegan Murray, sorry.
Yeah.
They're at 9 for me.
I'm in a similar boat. I've only got the Kings 1 seed ahead of them at 8th. Basically what Will said. I'm not sure what the experiment will hold for the Kings this year. They could really prove us wrong and really work. But Kings at 8th, I don't really see them getting any higher because the 7 teams above them are just so damn good.
Yeah. 8th for me, I've got the Grizzlies. I don't see them coming back and having the sort of year they had when Ja Morant was on the team.
Okay.
And who knows what's going to happen throughout the season. Ja Morant might do something silly.
I've got the Grizzlies at 7th. Sort of the same. I think Ja is an absolute freak of nature, though. And I think with Jaren finally back, I think these guys definitely do make the 7th seed. Could be even higher. But yeah. Desmond Bane as well. We always forget about Desmond Bane.
Yeah.
Grizzlies at 7th. This is yeah, we'll just move on from there.
7th for me. I got you, Liam. Pels. I think the Pels are going to be the 7th seed.
That's crazy.
They have a stacked roster, to be honest. They're starting 5 when healthy. DeJounte Murray, obviously, he's going to be out for a bit, but I think they're going to be able to cope without him until he's back healthy. And Zion and B.I. and CJ McCollum, they're going to be a very good team this year. Bit of a sleeper pick, I think. They're coming in at 7.
I've got the Denver Nuggets at 6. I just don't think they're the team they used to be. I really don't. After playing them yesterday, I think Jokic's numbers are going to change around a bit. I think he's going to average less assists and more points. The loss of KCP was massive. Jamal Murray's regressing, and MPJ is a terrorist. And Christian Braun and Aaron Gordon hate shooting 3-pointers. So there's less spacing for Jokic to operate. I think he's going to have to score a lot more this year. So I just don't think the Nuggets will be able to beat the 5 teams they have ahead of them.
6 for me, I've got the Phoenix Suns. Obviously, on paper, very stacked team. Booker, KD, Beal. But I don't think they're all going to be healthy throughout the entire season.
Oh, okay.
There's going to be injuries here and there. Beal and KD obviously quite old now. But they're still coming in at 6 for me. I think KD will carry them to a 6 seed.
I've got the Los Angeles Lakers at 5. Crazy, considering how average they've been with Darvin Ham, but they're already showing that with JJ Redick's addition that this team's going to be pretty scary, and LeBron going into his 40th year of his life, still looking like one of the best players in the NBA, along with AD, along with Austin Reeves, along with Rui Hachimura just playing good basketball. These guys are going to surprise everyone. They could be higher than 5th, but I have them at 5th because
we did this list a few days ago before the start of the season. I don't think either of us would have had them that high.
No way.
But thankfully, we're a few games in, so we have a bit of a head start on what's happening. 5th for me, I have Denver. I'm in a bit of the same boat as you, Finn. I'm still high on them. They've obviously got the best player in the world, in my opinion, Nikola Jokic. He'll continue to carry them regardless of how their roster's changed around him. I think they'll consistently be a top 5 seed. I've got them coming in at 5 there.
So I've got Phoenix at 4. I just think if they're healthy, it's going to work. They have a new coach. Budenholzer obviously knows what he's doing this year. KD, Beal, and D-Book. They have 2 of some of the best point guards that you could possibly get in their role. Tyus Jones has one of the best assist-to-turnover ratios in the NBA, and Monte Morris as a backup is perfect. It's exactly what they needed. It's exactly what they lacked last season, so they got exactly what they needed to try and make them a better team. I think they're going to be a top 4 team in the West this year.
4 for me, I've got the Dallas Mavericks. Not much to say about this. Luka Doncic, probably the second best player in the world, in my opinion.
Yeah, fair.
And Kyrie Irving. And they've added Klay Thompson, who's looked good to start the season. I did not see that one coming. And they've obviously got good big man depth as well. Derek Lively and Daniel Gafford.
Yeah.
So I'm high on them. I think they could make a repeat for the finals. Who knows?
I've got the Mavs at 3. Exactly what Will said, basically. I just think, a really good team. Luka might win MVP this year.
Yeah. 3 for me, I've got the Timberwolves. I must admit, after the first game and after that trade they made, I thought they were going to fall a bit further below. But after seeing Julius Randle playing the way he is, I think they can slot back in at that 3rd seed, as they did last year. Obviously, Anthony Edwards quickly becoming one of the best players in the league as well. Yeah. So they're at 3 for me.
I've got the Timberwolves at 2. Literally exactly the same. I think Julius Randle's a great fit for Ant. I just think they're going to win a lot of games this year.
Yep. Number 2 for me. I did not see this one coming myself, Finn. Maybe a bit too high, but I'm really high on this team after their first perfect 3-0 start to the season. I've got the Lakers at the 2 seed.
Crazy.
LeBron and AD with JJ Redick at the helm as the coach. I think they can go really far this year. Who knows? It could be LeBron's last season, and imagine if he can end it out with a chip on the Lakers. I really want to see that happen. If it's not the Blazers that make the finals, they're at 2 for me.
Fair enough. We've both got the same number 1 seed, Oklahoma City Thunder. Probably the best team in the West by a country mile. They're going to be good for the next 5 years. Shea, Chet, J-Dub, Isaiah Joe starting now, which is crazy cool as well. This team's ridiculous. So much depth, so much shooting, so much athleticism, and so much fun.
Yep. They're going to be great. Everything you just said.
And Caruso and Lou Dort.
Yeah.
It doesn't stop.
Going to quickly run through your top 15 again, Finn?
Okay, we'll go very, very quick. 15 Jazz, 14 Blazers, 13 Spurs, 12 Rockets, 11 Warriors, 10 Clippers, 9 Pels, 8 Kings, 7 Grizzlies, 6 Nuggets, 5 Lakers, 4 Suns, 3 Mavericks, 2 Timberwolves, and number 1 seed in the West, Oklahoma City.
For me, 15 Jazz, 14 Rockets, 13 Clippers, 12 Warriors, 11 Spurs, 10 Blazers, 9 Kings, 8 the Grizzlies, 7 the Pelicans, 6 the Suns, 5 the Nuggets, 4 the Mavericks, 3 the Timberwolves, 2 the Lakers, and number 1 OKC.
Lovely. Let us know down below if you think these lists are valid.
Yep.
I'm sure there's going to be some pissed off fans in the comments.
That's it for another week, guys. Catch you up.